Steve Nash is one of the best playmakers in NBA history, easily placing him in the top 10 best point guards. He's had multiple MVP seasons, but throughout his 18-year career, he was not able to win a championship. So today we're going back in time and doing our best to rebuild the perfect team around Nash to hopefully go out there and win a championship. We will be starting off in the beginning of the 02-03 season, and in this season, Steve Nash was actually still a part of the Dallas Mavericks. It was not until 2 years later he joined the Phoenix Suns back in free agency, but for this video, I forced his way to the Phoenix Suns 2 years earlier. It only makes sense for us to win a championship and rebuild the Suns around Nash. And taking a look at this team's roster, we actually have two of Steve Nash's real Phoenix Suns teammates, Amar'e Stoudemire, who right now is a rookie, 19 years old at 83 overall, so he's only going to continue getting better. We also have Shawn Marion, who's at 86 overall at age 24, so hopefully he gets better as well. And starting out this season, this here will be our 9-man rotation. So in the starting lineup, we have ourselves Steve Nash, Penny Hardaway, Shawn Marion, Amar'e Stoudemire, and LaFrance. And then off the bench, we have Joe Johnson, Bo Outlaw, Jake, and Casey Jacobson. Before we simulate the first few games of this season, I would really appreciate it if y'all could drop a thumbs up on this video and subscribe if you haven't already. We are trying to hit 1,000 subscribers by the end of April, so please hit that subscribe button. It looks like the first game of this season is up against the Seattle Sonics. Let's see if we could go on to defeat them, and it looks like we will be losing by 5 points. Amar'e Stoudemire in his NBA debut dropped 23 points. Shawn had himself a 21-point double-double. Steve Nash had himself 10 assists with 9 points. Can we at least win one of the game in the first week? And it looks like we do go on to defeat the Dallas Mavericks here, winning 118-110. Shawn Marion had himself 32 points, 21 from Hardaway, and a 16-point double-double from Steve Nash. As of right now, we are rolling with a 3.5-star overall system proficiency, pace and space under Richard Mason. And now I'll see you all at the trade deadline, where I most likely will be stopping to make some upgrades to our roster. We are stopped here at the trade deadline, and we have been winning a lot of games. We are currently the number 3 seed. Well, actually we should be the number 2 seed. It looks like there's a glitch because it says the Mavericks are the number 2 seed, even though we have a lot more wins than they do. But I am still planning on upgrading some positions. Maybe upgrading the shooting guard or center position is something I'm going to look forward to doing. We are going to be moving on from our starting center, LaFrance. He's not a good rebounder or defender, but he is a really good 3-point shooter. He has been shooting 44% from the 3-point line, and in this day and age, there is not many floor spacing big men in the league. We are going to be sending him to the Atlanta Hawks for Theo Ratliff, who's one of the best rim protectors, and he's also a good rebounder. So let's go ahead and pull off this trade. And as for upgrading our shooting guard position, we are going to wait until the off season, and there we will try and trade up for a lottery pick and draft ourselves somebody like Kirk Hinrich. I'm also going to try and attempt to bring in Chris Bosh if possible. But Chris Hinrich is someone that I most definitely will be targeting. He's a good perimeter defender, he could shoot the 3-ball, he could be the perfect shooting guard we need on this team. At the end of this season, Kobe Bean Bryant goes on to win his first ever MVP, Yao Ming Rookie of the Year, Bobby Jackson 6th Man, Ben Wallace Defensive Player, Ricky Davis Most Improved, Richard Mason, our head coach, wins Coach of the Year, and we also go on to win Executive. Now let's see if we get ourselves any All-NBA selections, which I do think we should, and we do get ourselves Shawn Marion and Steve Nash both on an All-NBA third team. Let's go. Now, all defensive team, we don't get our starting center here, which is kind of a surprise because he was averaging about 3 blocks per game if I'm not mistaken. We do also get ourselves Amar'e Stoudemire on an all-rookie first team, and that will be it for awards. We ended this season as the number 1 seed, winning a total of 63 games and losing only 19. In the regular season, our team was absolutely unstoppable. And now let's take a look at the regular season player stats before we start simulating here in the playoffs. So our leading scorer was Shawn Marion, averaging about 24 points per game with 10 rebounds. Steve Nash was averaging 21.5 points per game with 12 assists while shooting 40% from the 3-point line. 16 from rookie Amar'e Stoudemire, 13 from Joe Johnson, and 11 from Penny Hardaway. And now in the first round of the playoffs, we are going to be taking on the Seattle Supersonics, who have themselves Gary Payton, Brent Barry, Rashard Lewis, Vladimir, this dude here, and an 80 overall Desmond Mason as their 6th man. Let's see how things go here. Game number 1 will go to us. Marion dropping 23, Steve Nash with a 22-point double-double. Let's see if we could also go on to win game number 2, and yes, we can. Marion dropping 36 points, Nash with a 17-point double-double, Penny Hardaway with a 16-point double-double. Game number 3 will also end up going to us. We win here 106-95. Stoudemire had led the way here with 22 points, Nash with a 20-point double-double, Marion with 18. Can we sweep the Seattle Supersonics? And no, we cannot. They do end up defeating us here in game 4. But we do go on a gentleman's sweep, and now making it to the second round of the playoffs. And so far here in the playoffs, Steve Nash is averaging a 23-point double-double, Sean is averaging a 25-point, well, nearly a 25-point double-double, and Stoudemire is averaging a 16-point double-double. And now in the second round of the playoffs, we are going to be taking on the MVP Kobe Bryant and the Los Angeles Lakers. They also have Derek Fisher, Rick Fox, this dude, and Shaquille O'Neal. Let's see how things go here. Game number 1, we do end up winning, and Steve Nash dropping a 40-point double-double. Let's go. Game number 2 does also end up going to us, and holy, Sean Marion dropping a 55-point game. Steve Nash with a 22-point double-double, Penny Hardaway with 12 assists. We are up 2-0. Let's see if we can make this 3-0, and yes, we can. We also end up winning game 3. Steve Nash dropping a 30-point double-double, Sean with 30 and 21 from Johnson. Are we going to sweep the MVP and the Lakers? And yes, we do. And winning game 4, 115-104. Sean had himself 34, 19 from Ratliff, and 18 from Stoudemire. And just like that, we have made it to the Western Conference Finals. And in the Western Conference Finals, we are taking on the Golden State Warriors, who have themselves Gilbert Arenas, Jason Richardson, and Antoine Jameson, Danny, and Eric. Let's see how things go here. Game number 1 will end up going to the Golden State Warriors. They win 124-113. Sean had 32, 26 from Stoudemire, and 23 and 15 from Nash. Game number 2 does end up going to us. We win here with Stoudemire leading the way, dropping 22 points. Game number 3 does go to the Warriors, as does game 4, and thankfully they do not gentlemen sweep us, but they do end up eliminating us in game 6 of the Western Conference Finals. That truly does suck, but all that means is we're still not championship contenders, which means this offseason we're still going to have to make some upgrades to our roster. In the NBA Finals, we have the Detroit Pistons taking on the Golden State Warriors. The Pistons go on to win in game 4, with Ben Wallace winning Finals MVP. Before we go into the offseason, let me show you guys the player stats for the playoffs. So we played a total of 15 games, and in those 15 games, Sean was our leading scorer, averaging 28 points per game, 25 and 13 from Steve Nash, and 19 from Amari Stoudemire. In the 2003 NBA draft, we end up with a 29th overall pick, but what I will be doing is trying and trading to get ourselves a top 10 pick so we could draft ourselves a good young rookie that could be a part of our future. I will be attempting to pull off a trade with the Miami Heat for the 5th overall pick because all the mock drafts have Kirk Hinrich going in the top 5, but if Chris Bosh falls that low, I most definitely will be selecting him over Kirk Hinrich. And for the 5th overall pick, I'm going to be offering the Miami Heat, Theo Ratliff, Bo Outlaw, and as of right now, they do decline. Let's try throwing in Darvin Ham as well, who has 1-star trade value. They're still not budging. What if we throw in a future first round pick, and that gets the trade done? We land ourselves a 5th overall pick. And now it is time for the 2003 NBA draft. Let's see which player we're going to be landing with. Boston Celtics have the 1st overall pick, and of course they take LeBron James, now paired up with Paul Pierce. The Memphis Grizzlies have the 2nd overall pick, and they take Carmelo Anthony. The Blazers with the 3rd pick take Dwayne Wade. And let's see who the Chicago Bulls will be taking. And it looks like they're going to be trading away the 4th overall pick to the Milwaukee Bucks for Sam Cassell and Tony. And then the Milwaukee Bucks go on to select Chris Common. I believe that's how you pronounce his name. And now we have Chris Bosh still left on the board. As much as I did want Kirk Hinrich on our team, there's no way we could pass up on Chris Bosh. He's still here on the board, and we're going to go ahead and draft him with the 5th overall pick, and we will most likely be changing his position from power forward to center. And this trade here is huge. I decided to throw Penny Hardaway and our 29th overall pick in Trade Finder to see what we could get back in return, and the Utah Jazz are offering us Kirk Hinrich, the player I wanted to draft originally, so now we're going to be getting Kirk Hinrich and Chris Bosh in the 2003 NBA draft. And in my opinion, that was a very successful NBA draft for our team. We get two really good players that will most definitely be a part of our team's future. Team player options, there is no one we need to pick up the team option on, and we don't have to give anybody a qualifying offer, but it does look like we have to re-sign Shawn Marion here in free agency. So right now our main priority is re-signing Shawn Marion. He does want about $12 million, so I'm going to go ahead and offer him a 5-year deal with the team option on the 5th year, where we pay him about $10 million annually. Well, actually, we're going to have to give him about $10.5 million annually. It looks like he will be accepting on a 4-year, $47 million contract with the team option on the 5th year. I also will be trading away this dude here, Greg Ostertag, if I'm not mistaken, that's how you say his name, for a lottery protected 1st round pick from the San Antonio Spurs. I'm only really pulling off this trade so we could free up $8 million in salary cap and then go in free agency and sign ourselves a new backup center. And now we do have ourselves some more money in free agency, so I'm going to be signing ourselves Ethan Thomas. He's a good backup center, could be a part of our future. He's still young, so he may still end up getting better and progressing. I'm going to go ahead and offer him a 4-year deal. Let's see if we could lower this down a little bit to about $2.5 million annually. And he will be accepting on a 4-year, $10 million contract. This dude here we have on an $11 million contract. What I will be doing is going ahead and releasing him. And Casey Jacobson, I will keep him on our team to see if he progresses this offseason, but I do think we should have some more money maybe here in free agency, and we do have about $2.6 million we could still use. Okay, so this is pretty insane. It says we still have about $11 million we could spend here in free agency. I'm not sure if this happened because we waived that one guy that was on an $11 million contract, but we could sign ourselves a young Carlos Boozer, and that's exactly what I believe we're going to do. I'm going to go ahead and offer him a 4-year deal, paying him about $10 million annually, and he will be accepting on a 4-year, $43 million contract. We are here at Player Progression Day, and this is looking absolutely phenomenal. A lot of green arrows. Steve Nash has jumped up to a 91 overall, but the one that has surprised me the most is Joe Johnson going 8 up in overall, now making him an 84. Boozer has also gone up a ton, now making him an 84 as well. And now here we are at the start of this season with a new rotation. So in the starting lineup, we have ourselves Steve Nash, Joe Johnson, Shawn Marion, Amari Stoudemire, and Chris Bosh. And then off the bench, we have Carlos Boozer, Kirk Hinrich, Ethan Thomas, and Steve Kerr. I do believe our team will be a lot better this season. Let's go ahead and simulate the first few games of this season. Game number 1 against Timberwolves, we go on to win 129-96. Marion had himself 37 points, 22 from Stoudemire, 19 from Johnson, and an 18-point double-double from Nash. And we also defeat the Seattle Supersonics, and yes, we can. And can we go 3 for 3? And no, we can't. We do end up losing here to the Utah Jazz by 1 single point, but we did score 118 against the Supersonics. Marion had himself 25 points, 15 rebounds, Boozer with 21, 19 and 13 from Nash. And as of right now, we will be rolling with a 3.5-star overall system proficiency balanced under Richard Mason. What I'm now going to do is start simulating here until the end of this season, but if there's any trades to be made at the trade deadline, I will stop to show you all. We're stopped here on contract extension day, and Steve Nash does want to sign a contract extension with our team, so we're going to go ahead and extend him, paying him $13.76 million annually for the next 4 seasons, and he goes on to happily accept. At the end of this season, Shaquille O'Neal goes on to win MVP. We did have Shawn Marion in the award races, and the same for Steve Nash. Both of them were in the award races of winning MVP. LeBron James goes on to win Rookie of the Year. Carlos Boozer winning 6th Man of the Year. Let's go. Ben Wallace, once again Defensive Player. Quentin Richardson, Most Improved. Richard Mason wins Coach of the Year, and we also win Executive. See if we get ourselves any All-NBA selections, and we do land Shawn Marion and Steve Nash both on an All-NBA 3rd team. Do we get anyone here on All-Defensive team? And no, we do not. But we do land Chris Bosh on an All-Rookie 1st team. At the end of this season, we ended up being the number 1 seed, winning 74 games and losing only 8. We have been absolutely unstoppable. Hopefully we're able to continue that here into the playoffs, but before that, let's take a look at our player stats. So the leading scorer on our team was Shawn Marion, averaging a 26-point double-double, we had Steve Nash averaging 20 points per game with 13 assists, 19 from Stoudemire, 13.5, while 14 from Chris Bosh, 13 from Boozer, and 12.5 from Joe Johnson. And Steve Nash did end the season with 50-40-90 shooting splits, which throughout his career he was able to do 4 times, which is absolutely unbelievable. And now in the first round of the playoffs, we are going to be taking on the Memphis Grizzlies, and they have themselves Jason Williams, Carmelo Anthony, Pau Gasol. They do also have Shane Battier coming off their bench. Let's see how things go here. Game number 1 will go to us. As is game 2, we also win game 3, and we go on to sweep the Memphis Grizzlies. So far, Bosh is averaging 22 points with 15 assists. Sean is averaging 25. Let's see how Chris Bosh has been doing. Whoa, he's playing amazing. His first time in the playoffs, he's averaging 21 points per game. Mari Stoudemire with 19. And now in the second round of the playoffs, we are taking on the Dallas Mavericks, who have themselves Stephen Marbury, I believe that's how you pronounce his name, Nick Van Exel, Michael Finley, and Dirk Nowitzki. Let's see how things go here. Game number 1 will go to us. Sean dropping 33, Steve Nash with 21 and 15, Stoudemire with 26. Game number 2 also goes to us. We win game 3, and we go on to sweep the Dallas Mavericks, making it to the Western Conference Finals. And now we're taking on the Los Angeles Lakers, who have 2 of the last MVPs, Shaquille O'Neal and Kobe Bryant. Let's see if we could win game 1, and yes, we can. Sean dropping a 34-point double-double, 24 from Bosh, and 23-point double-double from Nash. And it looks like in the Eastern Conference Finals, we have LeBron James and the Boston Celtics taking on the Indiana Pacers. Now we are up 1-2, and now we make it 2-0. Let's go. Sean dropping 41 points and 15 rebounds. Nash with 30, 19 from Boozer. Game number 3 will end up going to the Lakers. We win game 4, and we gentlemen sweep the Los Angeles Lakers, making it to the NBA Finals. It looks like in the NBA Finals, we are taking on LeBron James and the Boston Celtics. They also have Paul Pierce and Antonio Walker. I did move Paul Pierce's position to shooting guard, so it makes a little more sense for them having LeBron James be in their starting lineup. Now let's see how things go here. Game number 1, we end up winning. Stoudemire with 30, 23 and 11 from Sean. Game number 2 also going to us. Let's go. Sean dropping 36 and 14, Nash with 22 and 13. Game number 3, and that puts us up 3-0. So we have been walking through this playoff run. Sean with 24, 19 from Bosh, and are we going to sweep the Celtics? We do not sweep them, but we do go on a gentleman sweep them to win the Phoenix Suns and Steve Nash a championship. Sean Marion winning Finals MVP, averaging 26-12 with 2 steals, half a block on 50-40-80 shooting splits. And of course, we are going to be running it back one more season to see if we could win ourselves a back-to-back championship, but before that, let me show you guys our player stats. So here in the playoffs, we played 18 games. In those 18 games, the leading scorer was Sean Marion, averaging 29 points with 11 rebounds. Steve Nash was averaging 22 points per game, 14 assists on 50-40-80 shooting splits. 19 from Amari Stoudemire, 16 from Bosh, and 12 and 10 from Boozer. And here are the NBA Finals stats in case you guys were wondering. Steve Nash was averaging 14 assists with 16 points. Now it's time for the offseason, and honestly, we're going to run with the same exact team, and I'm not going to make any changes this offseason, but if I do, I'll show you guys which changes I've made at the start of the up-and-coming season. And once again, player progression is looking absolutely amazing. The only player that did regress a part of this rotation is Sean Marion, but he only went down 1 in overall, so that is alright. Here we are at the start of this season. I did not make any changes to the roster except for signing some free agents like Wesley Person. But in our starting lineup, we still have Steve Nash, Joe Johnson, Sean Marion, Amari Stoudemire, and Chris Bosh. Then off the bench, we have Carlos Boozer, Kirk Hinrich, Ethan Thomas, and Wesley Person. Let's go ahead and take a look at the system proficiency. So we are rolling with a 4-star overall system proficiency balanced under Richard Mason. I'm now going to start simulating here until the end of this season, where hopefully we can go on to win a back-to-back championship. Okay, this is absolutely insane. We're at the trade deadline and I've never had this happen before where I've made it all the way to the trade deadline without losing a single game. We have won every single game of this season, winning a total of 46 games with 0 losses. Let's see how many more games we could win without losing. Okay, this is insane. We have still not lost a single game. We might really just go 82-0, which I have never done in my life, and it looks like we go 82-0 with the Phoenix Suns. Holy, I have never done that in 2K Simulation in my life, and I have been playing for years. That is absolutely insane. And with an end to that amazing season, our boy Steve Nash also goes on to win his first ever MVP of this video, averaging 23 points per game with 13 assists on 50, 40, 90 shooting splits. Dwight Howard, Rookie of the Year, Carlos Boozer, 6-man, LeBron James, Defensive Player, Chris wins Most Improved, our head coach, Richard Mason winning Coach of the Year with winning 82 games and losing only 0. Of course, the MVP Steve Nash does make it on all NBA first team. Do we have any more selections here? And it looks like we don't get anybody else on an all NBA team. What about on an all defensive team? We don't get anybody here either, but that is all right because we won 82 games and lost only 0. I still cannot wrap my head around that. I have never won this many games before. I've watched a lot of 82-0 challenges. I'm pretty sure I've done an 82-0 challenge as well, and it was damn near impossible to get to that point. And in this video we did so, which is absolutely amazing. Let's take a look at the player stats for the regular season. So our leading scorer was Amari Stoudemire, averaging 23 points per game with 11 rebounds. 23 points and 13 assists from Steve Nash, 21 from Shawn Marion, 15 from Joe Johnson, 15 from Chris Bosh. Carlos Boozer as our 6-man has been phenomenal as well, averaging nearly a 14-point double-double. In the first round of the playoffs, we are taking on the Los Angeles Lakers, and they still have Kobe Bryant and Shaquille O'Neal, but the rest of the supporting cast is pretty awful. Alright, so let's see if we could go on to win a championship, and we do end up losing the first game, which is up against the Lakers. Again, we did not lose a single game in the regular season, but we do lose one here in the first round to the Lakers. The second round, we will be taking on the Minnesota Timberwolves. They have Kevin Garnett, Wally, and Troy. Let's see how this goes, and we go on to sweep them. Just like that, we have made it to the Western Conference Finals, and now we're taking on the San Antonio Spurs, who have Tony Parker, Steven Jackson, Bruce, Tim Duncan, and they don't have Manu Ginobili from the looks of things. This may be a little bit more tougher. Let's see, let's go ahead and simulate around, and never mind, we also sweep them. Now we are taking on the Detroit Pistons. They have Chauncey Billups, Trevor Ariza, Nick Collison, and Ben Wallace. Let's see how this goes. Game number 1 goes to us. We also win game 2. We do end up losing game 3. We win game 4, and we gentlemen sweep the Pistons, who go on to win a back-to-back championship with Shawn Marion winning Finals MVP. And now let's take a look at the player stats before we end out this video. So in the playoffs, we played a total of 18 games. In those 18 games, the leading scorer was Shawn Marion, averaging 25 points per game, 22 from Stoudemire, and Steve Nash was averaging 20 points with 13 assists, 14 from Boozer and 13 from Bosh. In the NBA Finals, we played a total of 5 games. In those 5 games, Marion was leading the way with 23 points, 18 from Stoudemire, 17 and 12 from Steve Nash, 14 from Johnson, and 13 from Boozer. And now that is going to be it for today's video. I hope you all enjoyed. We were able to win Steve Nash his first ever championship, and not only one, we won him a back-to-back championship, with also winning him an MVP and winning the Phoenix Suns a total of 82 games and losing only 0. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to hit that thumbs up button and also subscribe if you're new for more NBA 2K26 rebuilds, and click here on the screen to watch my latest upload. Until next time, it's your boy Dragon, and I'm out. Peace.